You have a big fat unit one practice test coming up. You already tried your best on the practice test. Let's see how you did and let's learn from your mistakes. Here we go. 3/4, 5/8. First thing you do is you write it down. Put your 3/4, have your 5/8. Remember that these are literally the name of the fractions. Don't get confused by it. First thing that I do is I figure out what the heck their new name's going to be. What is the new name going to be? Incorrectamundo, my friend. There's a smaller number besides 32. It's going to be 8. 32 would work if you're automatically multiplying, but there's a smaller fraction that they both have that they could turn into or that are multiples of them. Now I got to look for that old magic number. How many 4s did it take to make 8? 2. So you repeat that. If every old piece is turning into 2 pieces, you know 3 is going to turn into 6. What I like to do is just go ahead and get rid of the old fraction. Now I look at 5/8 and realize it already is 8s. So it's staying 5/8. 5/8 plus 6/8 is 11/8. And 11/8 is bigger than a whole. How many 8s make a whole? 8/8. So when I pull the 8/8 out of it, there's still how many left over? There's 3/8 left over. And what does the 8/8 turn into? It morphs into a whole because it is a whole. So the answer is 1 3/8. Boom. This one gets a little more disgusting because it's mixed number and mixed number. We have 4 3/4. We have 1 6/7. Add those bad boys together. First name that 7 and 4 have in common is what? Who? 28 is correct. Remember, 7 could turn into 14, but 4 can't. Could turn into 21, but 4 can't. How many 4s made 28? So that is my multiplier. Every old piece turns into 7. If I used to have 3, now I have 21. So I get rid of the old fraction. That turns into 21/28. How many 7s make 28? Oh, man, I got 6 of those highlighted. So now how many am I going to have? 24, because it's 6 times 4. Now I have 24. Uh-oh. I got big boy math here. 21 plus 24. How many? 45. But you only need the denominator to make a whole. I got more than 28 pieces. How many more pieces than 28 do I have? Go ahead. Did you say 17? Let's see. 45 minus 28. That turns into a 15. That turns into a 3. Yeah, I'm seeing 17 left over. So I'll put 17 28s here. I'll take that whole, because remember, you pulled 28 28s out. That whole can go with the other whole. And then 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. That answer is 6 and 17 28. This one should be done a little bit quicker here. We have 4th, 6th. We have 1/4, 1 6. 6 and 4, first name they have in common is 12. You think 12? Do you think they can both hit 12? Yeah, you're right. So I'm going to put 12 next to it, 12 next to it. How many 4s made 12? Every old piece turns into 3. So I used to have 1, now I have. How many 6s make 12? Every old piece turns into 2. I used to have 1, now I have. And 3 12s plus 2 12s is. Answer is 5 12s. I see a couple people actually looking at their practice test. I salute you. 5 12s. Boom. 5/8 minus a 4th. 5/8 minus a 4th. Subtract 4 and 8. First name they have in common is 8. I'm going to put an 8 next to you. Put an 8 next to you. I had someone ask me before, so why do you rewrite an 8? It was already 5/8. Yeah, I just like them being lined up. So I just move it over. You're right. It is 5/8, so it stays 5/8. 1/4 turns into how many eights? 2 eights. Get rid of it. 5 eighths minus 2 eighths is 3 eighths is correct. All right, we have 6 3/4. And we are going to steal from it 2 1/5. First name they have in common is 20. Remember that trick I told you? If they're only one apart, you're always going to have to multiply them together. How many 4s made 20? Rhymes with hive. Oh, very good. So 3 times 5 is 15. That tells me that 3/4 is the same as 15/20. How many 5s make 20? 4. So 1 times 4 is 4. Remember, this one's subtraction, so 15 minus 4 is? 11. And when you're done with doing the fraction math, you still got to subtract the whole number. 6 minus 2 is? 4. Answer is 4 and 11/20. And then the last one on this section is 7 1/8 and 1 1/5. And usually I make the last one in the section the hardest. Let's see if that's the case here. 8 and 5, first thing they have in common is 40. How many 8s make 40? 5. I used to have 1, now I have 5. How many 5s make 40? 8. I used to have 1, now I have? Oh, if I have 5 and lose 8, what's left? Cannot do it. I don't have enough. So I have to go to the 7 and be like, what up, 7? I need one of you. And it's like, fine, take one of me. What am I turning it into? 40th. If I have a hole, everything's highlighted. How many 40ths would be highlighted? So 40 is like, here, 5, I will help you. So now I have 45. When I put them together, I have 45 40ths minus 8 40ths. And that answer is 45 minus 8 is what? Did you say 37? Let's see. 45 minus 8, that turns into 15. That turns into a 3. That turns into a, oh my gosh, you're right. 37 40ths. And then 6 minus 1 is 5. That was the hardest one. 5 and 37 40ths. Let's go to the next. And we have some word problems. Aren't word problems the best? Yeah. Mr. Martin has 2 equal-sized gardens. He plants 7/10 in the first garden, 2/10 in the second garden. How much more in the first than he has in the second? Huh. What operation is that? What operation is that? Subtraction. So we have 7/10 minus 2/10. Answer is 5/10. It's that simple, folks. Jacob made a pie. What a dude making a pie. What a guy. His family ate 1/4 of the pie on Sunday, 3/8 of the pie on Tuesday. What fraction did they eat total? What operation? What operation? Addition. Let's add those bad boys together. 4th plus 3/8, 1/4, 3/8. Addition. 8 and 4. First name they have in common is 8. 8. 3/8 is 3/8. How many 4s make 8? 2. Thank you. 1 times 2 is? So now I have 2/8 plus 3/8 is? 5/8. Which one of these is equal to 5/8? There's a couple ways you can do this one, guys. You can just put a 5/8 and a 5/8 and a 5/8 and a 5/8. And then we could just compare them. The first thing it's compared to is 3/7. If you don't know if they're equal, you can remember, multiply this way, and they should have the same number if they're equal. Those don't have the same number, therefore they're not equal to each other. 15/24. Well, let's see here. You can multiply sideways and you get 120 here and you get 120 there. Oh my gosh. Another thing you can do is say, well, it takes 3 of these and it takes 3 of these. Either way you do it, you realize that those are the equivalent fractions. You can go through and check the other ones if you'd like, but this is your equivalent fraction. And look, we have another one just like it. So it's actually asking what mixed number is the same thing as 14, 6. So I have 14, 6. Since the name is 6, how many pieces do you need to make a whole? Tough question, huh? Thank you very much. You need 6 pieces to make a whole. Therefore, we pull out as many 6s as possible. We pull out 1 whole, 6, 2 wholes, 12. That means we could pull out 2 wholes. It cost us 12. There's still 2 left over, and the answer is 2 and 2 6. It just turns into a division problem. 14 divided by 6, and you see how many 6s are in there. When you pull out 2, there's a remainder of 2. So that means you have 2 remainder, and you needed to have 6. So it's 2 and 2, 6. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to take a mixed number and say, let's turn you into as many thirds as possible. How many thirds is in 1 whole? Oh, 3 thirds. Thank you very much. So this is 3 thirds, 3 thirds, and 2 thirds. Together it's, nope, it's actually 8 thirds. It's actually 8 thirds. So that's good. Which one of these is true? Well, fifths are smaller pieces than fourths. So 3/5 is not bigger than 3/4. Sevenths are smaller pieces than 6. So 4/7 is not bigger than 4/6. Eighths, well, they're both eighths. This one's 5 of them. This one's only 3. 3/5 or 3/8 is not bigger than 5/8. And then we have 5/12 or 7/12. 7/12 is definitely more than 5/12. All right. Last question. It takes one to know one. Little math joke there. It takes one's family 3 3/4 hours to drive to his grandparents' house, which is 1 7/10 longer than it takes him to drive to his aunt's house. Let me draw you a beautiful picture here. We have Juan's family, and they're going to drive in this beautiful vehicle that looks like an iron. And when they drive, and they go all the way over this way, they get to their grandparents' house. So I'll call that GP house. But what's weird about GP's house is that's how far it takes to get to Grandma and Grandpa's house, 3 3/4. And the only other little bit of information that we understand is to get to Aunt's house. To get to the Aunt's house, it actually takes them so going to Grandma and Grandpa's house is 1 hour and 7/10 longer. So going from here to here is 1 7/10. So the question is, how long does it take to get to Aunt's house? So this is the question mark. So what we could do here is, let's pretend it takes 3 hours to get to Grandma and Grandpa's house. And that's like, oh my gosh, that's 1 hour longer than it takes to get to my aunt's house. Then the aunt's house would be 2. So how do you go from 3 to 1 to 2? Subtract. So we do the same thing with this these more difficult numbers. We have 3 3/4, and we're taking from 3 3/4 1 7/10. So 4 and 10, first thing they have in common is 20. Yeah, because 4 can't turn into 10, but 4 can turn into 20. How many 10s make 20? So every old piece is going to turn into 2 pieces. That means this is going to be 14. I can cross out the old fraction. How many 4s make 20? 5. If I used to have 3, now I have. If I have 15 and lose 14, I have
1.
And 3 minus 1 is 2. Answer is 2 and 120. Let's see how many errors I made. That would have been embarrassing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you look at your old test score from our practice test. If you want to do better on your real test, learn from your mistakes. All right. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.